I'll be there in a moment. Give me a moment. Also the cat. Meow. Meow. Hold up. Fixing my VTuber model. Let me do a little bit of a break too. Well, eyebrows aren't working. That's fine. We'll do it like this. We'll do it like this. Give me another moment. Cat. Cat. Kitty cat. No, no, no. No, no, no. Shit, you do no, no. Okay. Pow. There we go. Ta-da! Yeah, last time I didn't stream because I wasn't really feeling it. I was kind of tired, my head wasn't good. I just decided to just not do it at all. Today is a new day. And just like the just like the meme behind me. It's time to smash. I thought about doing some reaction videos. Well, just a tiny one, really. Just a tiny one. Another reaction video from Matthew Santoro. Because I really like his videos. They're good. I like his videos. Oh wow, this video is actually ancient. It's 7 years old. Damn! To think I've been watching his videos for that long though. Anywho. Let me just, pow. Oh, wait, the video isn't working. Hold up. I'll make it work. Here we go. Is it this one? There we go. Also, on a side note, I never thought I needed Firefox until I finally installed it. It's one of those things you never knew how badly you needed it until we finally got it, and that was me with Firefox. Because I thought, I don't need Firefox, I got Google Chrome. But then Google Chrome destroyed my ad block that I had, and I went to Firefox, and now I'm like, uninstall Google Chrome, Jesus. Firefox is just better. Not sponsored. Anywho, let's watch the videos. Let's watch the video, because this is the good shit. Oh fuck, what did I do? Ah! Let me close that. Ew. That was a mistake.
Insane asylums are meant to be a place of treatment for the mentally ill.
Yes.
However, not everything...
Oh, hold up. Let me see if it's working on the thing. Yeah, it's working. It's fine. It's going well.
...that occurs in these facilities are beneficial to the patients. In fact, some have such dark pasts with the things that have occurred there that the spirits of those very same patients haunt those buildings to this day.
Damn.
Here are 10 haunted insane asylums with extremely dark pasts.
Just like your mom. Haha!
Number 10 is the Ganjium Psychiatric Hospital.
Okay. Weird name.
Just outside of the city of Gwangju in South Korea is the Ganjium Psychiatric Hospital, believed to be one of the biggest paranormal hotspots in the country. Closed in 1996 under unclear circumstances, Ganjium is still filled with much of the hospital beds, furniture, and paperwork that filled its rooms when it was still in use.
You know, you could technically live there. I can see my... No. Still, that's kind of fucked up, though.
Almost as if everyone left in a hurry. Rumors for its closure involved a string of deaths, many of them patients. Deaths that could not be explained to their families because they were actually a mystery, or because potentially foul play was involved by the doctors. The owner of this...
So, most likely they would have... It was basically like that video game, what they called Outlast, the one with the camera, you know? They were doing experiments on the patients. That's where my money is at. That's where my money is at.
facility fled to the United States just before the hospital shut down and was never heard from again. However, if you visit Gonjiam late at night, it's said that you can still hear its ghostly patients. Number 9 is Denby Asylum. Completed in 1848, Denby Asylum has the honor of being the first institution for the mentally ill in Wales. It was built to house 200 people, but a flood of patients forced an expansion in 1899, allowing for 1,500 patients to access treatment. Though Denby Asylum wasn't...
What the fuck? Are they shoving that shit in their eyes? When you have that bitch of an itch and you need a pen to scratch your brain. What the fuck?
Important first step towards recovery for the mentally ill, it destroyed the lives of some of its patients with prefrontal lobotomies.
Yeah, no shit. Who knew destroying the frontal cortex destroys... I actually don't understand why people did lobotomies back in those days. I never actually read about it, honestly. But it's not difficult to put one and one together that, let's see, brain is responsible for the functioning of the body. If you damage it or destroy it, the body's not going to work the way it was supposed to. And since our personality is literally stored in the brain, I mean, you destroy that shit, it's basically like having a hard drive corrupted.
It destroyed... Denby Asylum was an important first step towards recovery for the mentally ill. It destroyed the lives of some of its patients with prefrontal lobotomies, removing bits of their brain.
Yeah.
Since the asylum's closure in 1990...
I mean, I know they did that back in the day. I'm remembering now, sorry. I know they did that back in the day in order to try to heal the insane people, the crazy people. But the thing is, they didn't know exactly which part of the brain they were going for. Like, which one would cause basically people to go psychotic and shit like that. They were treating it like basically like you treat any other disease. Like, I have a limb that's festering with maggots, it's infected and all that, and you just remove it because there's no way to save it. In order to save the body. That's basically what they were trying to do, I think. But still, kind of fucked up. And I don't actually know what science did they use back in those days to actually justify that.
It has become a favorite spot for many ghost hunters who have captured various paranormal activity on audio recordings.
Oh, really?
Witnesses have even described hearing the sounds of laughter as well as screaming coming from the buildings, as well as loud bangs and footsteps. One group
Someone's banging your mom, that's why they hear bang.
From the buildings, as well as loud bangs and footsteps. One group in particular reported that they felt that they were being watched and then threatened with the sounds of slamming doors. Despite being abandoned for over 20 years, it would appear that there are still some residents remaining.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just a homeless person living there.
Number 8 is Several's Mental Hospital. Several's Mental Hospital officially opened in May of 1913 in Mile End, England, and was a pioneering institution in the field of medical practices. The doctors at Several's were encouraged to experiment and try whatever they wished on the patients.
Again, human experimentation. Look at that face on the right. Now that's a face that you want to heal you. Yeesh. With a fucking saw ready to open up your skull. Fucking nightmares.
Which led to a lot of unneeded lobotomies and electroconvulsive treatments which are now outlawed.
Yeah, I wonder why. Fuck me. Again, why did these people think lobotomies would be a good idea? I need to read about this later. When I feel like it. Which is probably not gonna happen anytime soon, but still.
Treatments were used more frequently in the 1950s on women who were admitted for symptoms of depression or if they had illegitimate children. It's
Oh, fuck off. Hey, that is the most fucked up thing I've heard. I think my wife is cheating on me. Let me take her to the asylum. Yeah, they're gonna do a lobotomy on the bitch. She has a bastard child that's not mine. Oh man, that is so fucked up. the shit? Who would even think about doing that? What was the other one? It was lobotomies and was
for symptoms of depression or if they had illegitimate children. Its doors
depression too. There's a what's the percentage again? 20% of the people in the world are suffering from. I don't know if it's 20%. There's a lot of people suffering from depression. Oh, what's that, homie? You're suffering from depression? It's cool. Let me lobotomize you. You'll feel happy. I just grab the hammer and the fucking toothpick. Dum, 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 dum. That is so fucked up.
Symptoms of depression or if they had illegitimate children. Its doors closed forever in 1997, but it may not be completely empty. According to two gardeners, a pair of shadowy figures were seen working on the estate during a rainstorm. When the gardeners approached to confront the unknown workers, they dematerialized right in front of them. This is just one disturbing report among many coming from this abandoned hospital.
I have a question. Why does an abandoned hospital need gardeners? I'm sorry, but am I the only one who finds that crazy?
Number 7.
Also, why don't they blow up the fucking thing? I'm just saying. Either repurpose the fucking structure or demolish it. But don't just leave it there like that. Like, heck, if they wanted, they could just make it a fucking hotel for homeless people. That could work.
Is Danvers State Hospital. Known for its inspirational qualities in the horror genre, the haunted Danvers State Hospital in Danvers, Massachusetts was the birthplace of the prefrontal lobotomy. It was these lobotomies which turned patients into what's being described as living zombies. Opened in 1878, Danvers was built and staffed to...
That actually raises a really good question because of the zombies thing. Like, people who've been lobotomized, assuming they survive, do you think the brain would be able to rewire itself? Like, they wouldn't be the same people because we know that there are actual cases of people who got frontal lobe damage. Like, there was this one dude that worked on the railways, and an explosion basically shoved a piece of iron straight through his skull. Like, it entered through his jaw, lower jaw, and out the top of his head. But he survived. He was, I think it was in a coma or whatever. Like, he was in a hospital for quite some time. And then afterwards he made a full recovery. But people who knew him said that he was never the same person, because the frontal cortex is the part where your personality is stored. So basically, since that part was damaged due to the iron going through his brain, he ended up just not being the same person ever again. Basically, his personality got rewritten. So I do kind of wonder if that could happen in this particular case, because it's a lobotomy, but the lobotomy involves removing a chunk of your brain, while he only had it damaged. It wasn't removed, it was just a piece of iron straight through the skull. I do kind of wonder if it's still possible with the lobotomy to do that, to have the same effect or a similar effect.
Zombies.
Oh no, I'm turning into a crazy doctor. Fuck!
1878, Danvers was built and staffed to house 600 patients. But as time went on, overcrowding became a serious issue, and by 1939, the hospital housed around 2,360 patients, which was a deadly problem. Due to staff shortages, patients were checked on very infrequently, and any who died from neglect were sometimes left undiscovered for several days.
Damn.
That is, until a doctor finally came by. Anyone brave enough to enter today might just hear mysterious footsteps, see shadowy apparitions, lights flickering on and off, or even doors opening and closing on their own. Have a visit at your own peril.
Not gonna lie, I do kind of want to visit one of those places. Not by myself, though. I want to have a meat shield just in case. And a knife. I'm European, we feel comfortable with knives. It's not like America where you guys need a Glock.
Number 6 is the Overbrook Asylum. Overbrook Asylum was originally built in 1896 as a new hospital in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. During the mid-1920s, it became an insane asylum and ran until its closure in 2007. But what's truly disturbing is that around 10,000 patients met their own death at Overbrook. The facility couldn't keep up with the high demand for mental institutions in New Jersey, with problems of patient overpopulation and understaffing, which led to neglected patients. Horrifyingly, patients were lobotomized just to keep them harmless and docile.
I mean, it works. Don't fix it if it works, basically. I think he's actually doing electroshock therapy there. They're basically shocking his brain.
Simply because Overbrook did not have the resources to look after them. Since its closure, urban explorers and ghost hunters...
I know this is supposed to be scary, but honestly this just makes me horny. Like, that's a spooky hot nurse.
that managed to sneak past security have witnessed the phantom of a nurse that still makes her rounds in the abandoned hallways. Other visitors have heard impossible sounds of squeaky hospital bed wheels echoing throughout the hallways. Not exactly a place you'd like to visit on vacation. Number 5 is the Pennhurst Asylum.
What's that?
Formerly known as the Pennsylvania State Institution for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic, Pennhurst has a long track record of subjecting its patients to torture and malpractice. The asylum, located in Spring City, Pennsylvania, officially closed its doors on December 9, 1987, after nearly 80 years of housing patients. Ex-patients have told stories of being chained to walls, children being kept in cages, and even some being forced to fight other patients. Now closed,
they were having a fight club in there.
Pennhurst attracts curious explorers who report lots of paranormal activity from the deceased former inmates. There are reports of visitors being shoved around and items being known to fly across rooms. Audio recordings from ghost hunters have captured eerie voices saying, "I'll kill you," and "go away," along with distant shrieks and crying. Number 4 is Willard Asylum for the Chronic Insane. Located in Ovid, New York, the Willard Asylum for the Chronic Insane was built in 1869 and operated until it closed in 1995. Most of the patients at Willard were committed and either forgotten or left by their families to live out the rest of their lives at this facility. When they died, they would be buried in secret across the road in unmarked graves to avoid frightening current patients. The earliest patients came from horrible prisons.
Wait, they were buried across the road? How did no one notice that shit? How did they even have space, actually, for all of that? It must have been a big-ass road. I'm just saying.
Avoid frightening current patients. The earliest patients came from horrible prisons and poorhouses, where they were shackled.
It's because of people doing shit like this in the past that you had the movie Poltergeist. You guys never watched that movie? It's basically the reason why you have that shit. It's fucked up, man. It's really fucked up.
And beaten. Their conditions
building your house on top of a fucking graveyard and then the dead being pissed off about it. Like, yeah.
It became extremely severe as a product of their torture. And in death, they continue to lash out at those around them. Paranormal sightings at Willard have commonly involved a particular red-headed woman with long hair who walks throughout the hallways and will sometimes let out a harsh scream during the late hours of the night.
Okay. I was gonna say, is she hot at least? But no, she's just nasty.
3 is the Taunton State Hospital. Closed in 1975 and left abandoned until a fire mysteriously destroyed most of it, Taunton State Hospital in Taunton, Massachusetts has an extremely dark history. Built in 1854, Taunton has seen some of America's most dangerously insane criminals, including the serial killer nurse Jane Toppin, who administered slow deaths to 31 of her patients.
Damn.
Many residents and visitors reported feeling uneasy when passing the basement door. Patients recalled having seen specific doctors and nurses escort people down to the basement, never to be seen again.
Yeah, I would feel uneasy too. I see my my cellmate going down to the basement, never returning ever again. I would be creeped out too.
After Taunton's closure, the basement was known as the epicenter for the most intense paranormal visions. Those who entered experienced anxiety attacks, while others have witnessed shadows creeping along the walls. Number 2 is Poveglia Island Asylum.
For once, I would like to see a ghost with a sense of humor. Like, since you can only see the shadows, I would actually like to see a ghost just shoving his ass on the wall, and all you see is the cheeks. You know, like in the movies where someone basically puts their ass on the fucking printer and it starts printing out a bunch of pictures of his ass. I kind of want to see that. Makes you wonder, would people feel terrified or they would laugh their ass? Which one would it be? I kind of want to see that. I want to hear a witness saying they saw ghost cheeks.
Built on an island off of the coast of Venice in 1922, Poveglia Island Asylum contained Italy's mentally insane patients, but the island itself harbored a dark and gruesome history that also drove people to madness.
Ooh.
In the 18th century, Poveglia was used as a quarantine island for those infected with the Black Plague,
Oof.
who would wait to die far from the rest of Italy. It is said that over 100,000 people have died there, and that 50% of the topsoil consists of human ash.
Damn. I mean, they did what they had to do, honestly. I don't blame them for that. This isn't fucked up. This is just, like, the Black Plague was serious business. People didn't have a cure. People didn't know what the fuck they were doing back then. All they knew was they had the plague, they had to deal with it, and they did the best they could. Like, put the quarantine, burn everything that belonged to the people, including the people themselves. I mean, it may seem harsh, but it's actually an effective way to fight viruses and diseases and such. Because fire destroys all of that crap. If the body is infected, instead of just burying the body, no, just burn it. We still use some of those techniques in the days of today. Like, every time that you have, like, an outbreak of some disease, like Ebola, whatever, first thing we do is establish a quarantine, put everyone in there that is infected, and then as they slowly die, in order to avoid the virus from passing on to a new host and shit like that, we just burn everything to the ground. Literally scorched earth tactics with the virus. It's the only way, honestly. When you don't have a cure, it's the only way. It actually reminds me of a mission in a video game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like, there's a specific case about this, where you find a family, literally in the beginning of the game in Catalonia, you find a family that supposedly is sick, and you find the village, and the village is completely burned to the ground. Like, they just destroyed everything with fire, because the sickness was contaminating everything, and they were afraid that it would spread out. And since this is ancient Greece, they didn't really have the knowledge that we have today to fight these sorts of diseases. So they did sacrifices to the gods, they did all that shit, they tried healing what at the time they had as medicine, nothing was working. So what's the next thing you do? You burn everything to the ground. Like, they exhausted all the options that they had. And in the mission specifically, you have a family. There's 2 kids and their parents, and they're tied up, and you have the option to either save them or just let the priest and the guards do what they were going to do, which was kill them and then burn the bodies. And there's a bit of dialogue. And it's basically one of those questions where there's a morality where you just don't know which one you should do. You can play it safe. And, like, you're doing the right thing, but the right thing sometimes feels unpleasant. Because the right choice in that mission is literally to kill the family. Just let the guards kill the family and burn the bodies. Because they're sick. And they say, we're not even that sick. But here's the thing, diseases go through stages. You don't immediately go and you get infected and you get knocked out in bed. No, It progresses. It has stages. Little by little, you get worse and worse and worse and worse. And do you really want to have people that are mildly infected spreading the disease? Because that's what happened with COVID. It's what happens with Ebola. It's what happens with literally every other disease and virus out there. The host doesn't get knocked out immediately in bed because that's not advantageous for the disease itself. The disease wants you to spread it. It wants you to be in a stage where you're not completely dead, but you're not completely healthy either, so that you have coughing and stuff like that, so that you can spread the disease further. That's basically what the virus wants. It wants to propagate itself. It wants to reproduce. The way it reproduces is by infecting people. The Black Plague is no different. And in that specific mission that I'm talking about in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that's basically what's happening. So the right choice is actually to just let the guards kill the family, as fucked up as that is, and just burn the bodies to the ground until there's nothing else. Because that kills the disease and prevents it from infecting the whole island. Because you can choose, if you choose the option where you just fight the guards and you save the family, later on when you come back to the island, everyone's infected. The disease is completely killing everyone in the island. So yeah. It's unsavory, but it's the right choice to do. It's, what you call it, utilitarianism? I think that's the word. Basically, the needs of the many outweigh the few. It's fucked up. I actually don't blame them for doing this that they did during the Black Plague on this asylum. Like, they did what needed to do to save millions. Sacrificed a few thousands to save millions upon millions in future generations. Like, it makes sense. It's fucked up, but it makes sense.
When the asylum was established, its medical staff were known for performing botched lobotomies and
again with the lobotomies, Jesus.
Experiments on the patients. The head doctor himself was driven insane, purportedly by the ghosts of plague victims, and leapt off the hospital bell tower to his death.
Damn.
To this day, locals can still hear ringing from the tower, even though the bell is gone. And number 1 is Norwich State Hospital for the mentally insane. Between the town of Preston and the city of Norwich in Connecticut are the remains of the Norwich State Hospital for the mentally insane. Since its opening in October of 1904, it has been prone to tragedies and controversies. Several people have taken their own lives at Norwich, and widespread abuse, both physically and sexually, was commonplace for many patients.
Yikes.
Since the facility closed in 1996, it's been known to scare its visitors with loud screams, children's voices, wheelchairs, and gurneys that move by themselves, as well as footsteps and groans.
The fuck's a gurney?
Malicious spirits tied to the asylum have also made themselves known by producing clouds of mist, lights with no clear source, and shadowy silhouettes.
Ew.
However, the boldest of them show glimpses of their faces in the reflections of shattered window panes, terrifying witnesses. So,
Damn.
that was 10 haunted insane asylums.
Again, it's fucked up, and I kind of want to visit some of these places. They're scary. They seem kind of fun though. Let me watch another one. Hold up. How long is this one? 7 minutes? Yeah, we can watch this one. 10 genetic mutations we should be very worried about.
Today, we're diving deep into the
I like genetics. I like biology in general, so.
shadowy corners of our own DNA. We're talking about genetic mutations, but not the kind that give you extra toes, but the ones that could decimate populations, wreak havoc on our health, and even usher in a new era of human suffering.
Ooh.
Get ready for a chilling journey as we explore 10 genetic mutations that should keep us all up at night.
Oh.
The BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations. These genes are practically household names now, and for a good reason. They're strongly linked to an increased risk of hereditary breast and ovarian cancer,
Ouch.
which can be absolutely devastating. Imagine the fear and uncertainty of knowing that you have a significantly higher chance of facing these diseases.
Yeah.
While early detection and treatment have come a long way, these mutations still cast a long shadow over families, and the potential for these cancers to cause immense suffering is a serious concern. The good news is that genetic testing and counseling can help individuals.
Oh crap, there's a bot ruining the mood. God damn it, go away, bot. Fuck off. Kill yourself, you son of a bitch. Stupid bots. Ruining the fun. Never had fun in their lives. Fucking fun Nazis.
Make informed decisions about their health and family planning. For example, women with BRCA mutations can choose to undergo more frequent screenings, consider preventive surgeries, or explore other risk-reducing strategies.
Makes sense.
Huntington's disease.
I'm just gonna say this. It's gonna be a bit polemical. I don't know. It's gonna be a bit... Some people will not like what I'm about to say. They're not gonna like it, but it is what it is. It's nature. It's the way how it works. It's Darwinism. But when you think about it, some of these diseases nowadays, some of these genes and whatnot, are more frequent because of the technology that we have in terms of medical care. What I mean by that is that the reason why certain things nowadays are more prevalent, it's not just because we have more knowledge and can identify them. It's also because we have advanced to such a stage, such a technological age and wisdom, that we can heal or at least prolong the lives and give us and give better quality of life to people that suffer from these diseases. While if we didn't have this technology and this knowledge, basically what would happen would be survival of the fittest, meaning that people would have these diseases, these mutations, and very few would actually be able to survive, meaning that the disease, the gene, would not be passed on to another. You know, this is adult talk, by the way. It's scientific talk. Some people don't like hearing this shit. So, but basically, survival of the fittest, Darwinism, it's a thing. And some of the diseases that get passed on, some of the genetic traits that get passed on, since these are all genetic mutations, if a person basically just dies out, that gene is not passed on. Say you have two kids. One of them has the active gene, the other one doesn't. The one that is healthy survives, the other one does not. Also, give me a moment. Hold up. Okay, sorry about that. Thought my mom needed help. Sorry. But basically, what was I saying? Oh yeah, genetic Darwinism. It's a bitch, but nature does have a way of sorting these things out, because the genes that are, the mutations that are harmless get passed on because they don't do any harm. The ones that are very bad for you, they don't get passed on because they usually kill the person or make life a lot more harder for the person who has them. In the days of today, we have such technology and wisdom that we can actually make quality of life for those people, and they end up living long enough and they end up having decent lives that allow them to basically pass on their genes. That's basically it. I know people are not gonna like hearing this, but it is what it is. It's just nature. It's just the way how it works.
Huntington's disease is a truly heartbreaking condition. It's a genetic time bomb caused by a single faulty gene that slowly but relentlessly destroys brain cells.
Ouch.
The symptoms are just awful. Uncontrollable movements, memory loss, personality changes, and a complete decline of cognitive function.
Ouch.
It's a devastating diagnosis for anyone to receive, and the impact on families is immense.
Yeah.
There's currently no cure, making it a constant source of worry and fear.
Yeah, because these are all genetic fucking diseases. You can only cure them if you manage to do genetic therapy, which we haven't achieved yet, not completely. Basically, the only way to solve these problems is if we can identify each individual DNA strain and somehow fix it. Kind of like the Fallout FEV virus. For example, if we manage to do something like that, except of making, except not make green mutants like they do in Fallout, but instead actually making something more akin to the Viltrumites, for example, on Invincible.
Research
Uh, Basically making more akin, something more akin to the Viltrumites, because the Viltrumites basically did some genetic engineering on themselves and shit like that. They are also a bit extreme on the Darwinism, but nonetheless, it basically made them invincible, pretty much. It's silly, but it is what it is. A side note, I hate these types of diseases. The ones that destroy your cognitive skills and destroy your memories and brain, like Alzheimer's, Huntington's disease. I hate those diseases. They're like one of my biggest fear, like slowly decaying, and I'm seeing it happening. Like one thing is you getting older, another thing is you seeing your cognitive skills declining and being able to recognize that shit. Not to mention you forgetting the people that you love and cherish. I hate that so much. It's one of my fears. Like Alzheimer's and Huntington's. Those are like, ugh, fucking horrible. I don't want that shit on anyone, honestly. They're just nasty diseases that just shouldn't exist, honestly. They're fucked up. Like, having someone forget the people that they love and cherish and just having a decline on their skills and their cognitive skills and their personality just dying out. It's basically killing their souls. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. It's basically killing their souls, and I hate that so much. It's just horrible.
continues, and there is hope that new therapies may one day slow the progression of the disease.
Slow the progression? Why not just outright kill it? I mean, I know it's too early for that, but still, progress.
For instance, researchers are investigating gene therapy approaches that could potentially silence the mutated gene and prevent the production of the harmful protein.
There we go. That's what I was talking about. That like the only way to solve these fucking diseases is with gene therapy. Otherwise, you're stuck.
Cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis primarily affects the lungs and digestive system, making it a daily struggle for those who live with it. Imagine constantly battling lung infections, struggling to breathe, and having difficulty digesting food.
Ouch.
While treatments have improved significantly...
Again, what I was mentioning before about the Darwinism and all that, this kind of disease right here, you're not going to be able to live long enough if you had this kind of disease. Like Darwinism, nature itself would just solve it immediately. Like, oh, you shouldn't pass on your genes, and you would die out, unable to pass those genes, which cause this type of mutation. Only the healthy ones would be passed on. Over several generations, these genes would be pretty much eliminated. But nowadays, since we have so much technology and wisdom in terms of medical care and healthcare and all that shit, we can actually give a good quality of life to these people, which means they can then pass on their genes and increase the chances of people suffering from this shit. Like, imagine a solid flare scenario, okay? Imagine a really fucked up scenario, like apocalyptic scenario. These people would be the first ones to die out. Like, you have zero conditions to help these people. Zero fucking conditions to help these people. Like, it's harsh, it's horrible, but you have zero way to help those people in an apocalyptic situation. Like, they would be the first ones to fucking die out, and basically these types of people wouldn't be seen anymore because they wouldn't be able to make it. They wouldn't be able to survive. It's fucked up, but it is what it is. Like, being unable to breathe, having constant infections on their lungs, and being unable to digest food, like, that is literally the two main things that you need in order to survive. That's just fucked up. There are some really fucked up diseases. Like, it reminds me of this one time when I was a trainee in a clinic, and there was actually a kitty, a baby kitty. I think it was 2 months old, 3 months old, something like that. And he had a disease that basically didn't have a cure, as far as I remember. At least I asked the doctor about it. Basically, what the disease did, it was literally digging a hole on the ceiling of their mouth, all the way to the brain. Like, that shit was basically being eaten alive. The kitty was full of pain. It was causing immense pain and shit like that. The only cure for that shit was the needle, basically. They were just... what's the word in English? It's not mercy. I mean, it's mercy killing, but you guys give it another name. Euthanasia, euthanizing. I think that's the word. Euthanizing the kitty. It was the only way to just do it, because otherwise you just didn't. You didn't have anything like that. That kitty was just gonna die. He was gonna make infections constantly because he couldn't chew food because the ceiling of his mouth was completely gone. The brain was gonna die out next. Like, just end it. It was sad to see. Like, it's the type of situation where when you're dealing with it first person, like when you're dealing with it there, you don't think much about it. Like, you look at it, you process it, and you move on. But later on in life, when you start thinking about it, you're like, oh man, that's really fucked up. That's really messed up. It kind of starts hitting you a little bit, I think. I don't know. You're able to. It's the kind of shit that you can process and live with it. But if you dwell too much on it, you just keep thinking, man, that's really messed up. you know?
Recent years, it's still a chronic condition that requires ongoing management and can lead to serious complications.
Yeah, I imagine.
The fear of lung infections becoming life-threatening is a constant reality for people with CF and their families. However, advancements in gene therapy and other innovative treatments offer hope with a brighter future for individuals with CF. These therapies aim to address the underlying genetic cause of the disease and improve lung function, potentially leading to significant improvements in quality of life and life expectancy. Tay-Sachs disease. Tay-Sachs disease is a rare genetic disorder that primarily affects children of Ashkenazi Jewish descent. It's a particularly cruel disease because it robs children of their developmental milestones. Imagine a baby who seems healthy at first, but then starts to lose their vision, hearing, and motor skills.
Yo.
Sadly, Tay-Sachs is always fatal, usually by the age of 4 or 5. It's a devastating diagnosis for families, and the grief and loss is unimaginable.
Yeah. I imagine that is fucked up. Wait, so at the age of 4 they just die out? Because the disease just affects the brain? Like, you can see it there. That is so messed up. Also, it's kind of interesting that it affects mostly Jewish people, or Jewish descent. Again, genetics are a bitch. Well, I can't believe I'm about to say this one. Positive side, those kids die out so they don't pass on that gene. Negative side, it's really fucked up. They don't deserve to die. Again, I'm trying to be pragmatic about this. I'm trying to see the silver lining, but it's kind of fucked up. This is gonna get controversial, and I know it. Oh, man.
Sadly, Tay-Sachs is always fatal, usually by the age of 4 or 5.
Again, 4 or 5 years old dying. That's... Some diseases are really fucking horrible. I mean, all diseases are horrible, but some of them just take the cake, of horrible scale.
Devastating diagnosis for families, and the grief and loss is unimaginable. Carrier screening and genetic counseling can help identify couples at risk and make informed decisions about family planning. If both parents are carriers, they can choose to pursue options such as prenatal testing or consider alternative family building approaches.
Yeah, I imagine. That's what I would do too. Basically select the only genes that don't have this fucking genetic mutation so that my child can actually be healthy. That's what I would do.
Sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder that affects millions of people around the world. It causes red blood cells to become misshapen like a sickle, which leads to all sorts of problems.
Yeah, they can't carry the oxygen. I can already see what the problem is.
Imagine experiencing intense pain, chronic fatigue and anemia, and increased risk of stroke and organ damage.
Yeah.
While there are treatments to manage the disease, sickle cell disease can significantly impact a person's quality of life and life expectancy, making it a constant source of worry. Research is ongoing to develop new therapies such as gene editing and could potentially cure this debilitating disease.
Nice.
Gene editing technologies like CRISPR-Cas9 offer the possibility of precisely correcting the genetic defect that causes sickle cell disease, offering hope for a future where this disease may no longer be a lifelong burden.
Nice. In other words, you're basically doing genetic therapy, eliminating the disease at its source. I do actually wonder about one thing, though. If you do genetic therapy and you successfully manage to correct the defects on the genes, do those genes basically get passed on corrected? Or are you passing on the old genes, the ones that were harmful? That actually food for thought when you think about it. Because think about it this way. Look at again. I'm using Invincible as an example of this. Uh, the Viltrumites basically have DNA that basically heals anything, right? And according to the comic books and all that shit, there was a bit of genetic therapy or genetic engineering in order to make them that tough. So the question is, if we do that on humans, would the old gene, basically, would the genes completely be rewritten? Meaning that the downfalls and the bad stuff would be completely eliminated from our DNA, and only the new, healthy, and strong DNA would be passed on? Or would the old one be passed on while the person itself stays with the new ones, with the good genes? Like, I do kind of wonder about that. It's actually a very good question for genetic therapy. Not sure how that works.
Muscular dystrophy. This is a devastating condition that primarily affects boys. It causes progressive muscle weakness and wasting, gradually robbing them of their ability to walk, run, or even breathe on their own.
Fuck.
Imagine a young boy who loves to play and be active, but gradually loses the ability to do things that he enjoys.
Yeah.
Duchenne is a relentless disease that often requires individuals to use wheelchairs and rely on ventilators to breathe. It's a heartbreaking diagnosis for families, and the challenges are immense.
Yeah.
However, research and clinical trials are exploring potential treatments, including gene therapy, that may one day slow the progression of this disease. Gene therapy approaches aim to deliver healthy copies of the dystrophin gene, which is missing or defective in Duchenne muscular dystrophy, to muscle cells. Fragile X.
Again, I'm already seeing that the future on healthcare is gonna be gene therapy. I mean, when you think about it, that shit is gonna solve a ton of problems. Like, imagine being immune to a ton of shit, like a ton of fucking diseases, because your body just has that immunity to genetic therapy. You know, you just change your DNA and you manage to basically make you immune to pretty much everything. That would allow you to have a bunch of advantages, honestly. Like regrowing limbs and stuff like that. That's actually research that people are doing. The axolotl, which is an animal which can regrow organs and limbs, and funny thing, they can actually give limbs of themselves to other of the same species. It's an actually interesting animal because its its healing factor. I was gonna say regeneration, but tongue twists. Its healing factor is just that fucking strong. They've been noticed to be able to regrow certain organs like lungs and shit like that, and they regrow every limb, even eyes. I think they can regrow eyes as well. The only thing they can't regrow is the brain. Other than that, they can pretty much regrow everything. Lose a limb, not a problem, it regrows. Lose an organ, it depends on the organ, but usually it grows out. It regrows as well. Like, can you imagine if we applied that genetics to us humans? Like, war veterans wouldn't have to fear anything of the sort anymore because... Although that does raise the question, do we actually want to give that to humans? Like... We are a warmongering species for all int. Some of us are very warmongering species. Makes you question if the natural state of humans is the one where we are constantly at war, or is it the moments between that are peaceful? Because sooner or later there's always a war going on, so do we actually want to give a healing factor to humans? Is that going to be beneficial or harmful to us? On one hand, I do see the benefits if in the very likely event that we go warpath, the victims and even the soldiers will be able to just heal from pretty much everything that's thrown at them, or almost everything. The downside to it is that soldiers will be able to get back into the field of battle over and over, and that might prolong the wars itself. That might be a downside, I think. Not sure. Anyway, food for thought.
Syndrome. Fragile X syndrome is the most common inherited cause of intellectual disability in males. It can also cause a range of developmental, behavior, or physical challenges. Imagine someone struggling to learn and communicate, experiencing social anxiety, and having difficulty with sensory input. Oof. While there's no cure for Fragile X, early intervention and therapies can help individuals reach their full potential and live fulfilling lives.
Nice.
It's a condition that requires ongoing support and understanding. Research is ongoing to develop new therapies and interventions to improve the quality of life for individuals with Fragile X syndrome. There may include medications to address specific symptoms, behavioral therapies, and educational support to help individuals with Fragile X syndrome thrive.
Okay.
Marfan syndrome. This is a genetic disorder that affects cognitive tissue, which
Whoa. That ribcage is completely distorted. What the shit?
is kind of like the glue that holds our bodies together. This can cause a wide range of problems, from being tall and lanky to having heart defects and eye problems.
Damn.
Imagine having to worry about your aorta, the main artery in your body, potentially rupturing.
Ah! That is terrifying. That is fucking terrifying.
Syndrome can be quite serious, but with careful monitoring and treatment, people can live long and healthy lives. Early diagnosis and ongoing medical care are crucial for managing the complications of this syndrome. This includes regular checkups with specialists such as cardiologists and ophthalmologists to monitor for any potential problems to ensure prompt treatment when necessary.
Yeah, but they're always spending time in the fucking hospital. That's not exactly a good life either, is it? Man.
Lynch syndrome. Lynch syndrome is a genetic condition that significantly increases your risk of developing several types of cancer. This includes especially colon, endometrial, and ovarian cancers.
Damn, all three in one nice package. Jesus. Fuck me.
It's like having a loaded weapon pointed at your health and you don't know when it's going to go off.
Yeah,
This can be a source of tremendous anxiety for families with Lynch syndrome.
I imagine.
Regular screening and preventive measures are crucial for managing the risks and catching cancers early. Genetic testing and counseling can help individuals with Lynch syndrome and guide them on appropriate screening and management strategies.
Yeah.
Familial hypercholesterolemia. This is a genetic disorder that causes super high levels of bad cholesterol in your blood. Think of it like your arteries getting clogged up with gunk, even if you eat a healthy diet and exercise.
Damn.
This puts you at a much higher risk of having a heart attack or stroke, even at a young age.
Damn.
FH is a serious condition, but with medication and lifestyle changes, people can lower their cholesterol and reduce their risk. Early diagnosis and treatment are crucial for preventing serious heart problems in individuals with FH.
Damn. Imagine having a disease that makes you American 24/7. God damn, now that's horrible. I'm sorry. I use humor to deal with the bullshit of life, even the harsh stuff like this. Still, though, it's kind of funny. One has the option, the other one doesn't. One is genetic, the other one's a lifestyle. I'm going to hell.
This may involve medications such as statins to lower cholesterol levels, as well as dietary changes and regular exercise to maintain a healthy weight. But those are all the genetic mutations for today. Let me know which one you guys thought was the scariest in the chat below. And other than that, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe too.
Subscribe to him, he's funny.
10 apocalypse.
Funny. He makes some really nice videos. I really enjoy his videos. Subscribe to him, Matthew Santoro. Anywho, this is it for me as well. Really interesting videos, but seriously, the scariest disease for me are the ones that basically fuck up your brain. Those are the ones that I find more terrifying, like forgetting about the people that I love and care about. That shit just terrifies me completely. It just makes me go, no. I don't want to forget my mom. I don't want to forget my dad, my cat, my sister. No, my friends. I don't want to forget any one of them. I think it's part of the reason why I hate reincarnation as a whole, because reincarnation involves you basically prestiging and starting over again with no memories of your previous life, and I hate that shit. Like, I do not want to reincarnate. Incarnation is one thing, reincarnation is another, by the way. If you don't know the difference. Reincarnation involves you prestiging. Incarnation involves you prestiging, but you keep all your knowledge, basically. Basically, you're getting isekai. Think of it that way. Reincarnation is basically prestige, and incarnation is basically isekai. You know, you get isekai to another world and you start over from there. That's the difference. I prefer to get isekai over getting prestige. That's the difference. Because I really hate forgetting shit, especially the people that I love and care. Like, my experiences make me the person that I am today. And forgetting about all of that, it's just, no. It's a nightmare fuel for me. Anywho, I enjoyed this. See you next time, and thanks for watching, if you do even watch. Bye.